with Ryan Ries. This is Live with Ryan Ries. Call now 1-888-564-6173 or post your questions using the hashtag #LiveRyanRies on his Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook.
What's up? What's up? We are back. It's Saturday night, and I'm psyched to be in studio. Were we here last week?
You were doing you did a recap of Mexico, right? Wasn't that last week?
No, I think it was the week before.
Oh, Boston.
Oh, we were in Boston. We were in East Coast last week. See?
Last week.
I'm getting old. Well, hey, a little recap. Boston was sick, and now God has opened the doors for us to go back to Boston. We were like Massachusetts, and then some doors opened even in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and even New York has opened up too, and New Mexico.
Wow.
New Mexico, and right now things are looking good for Florida. So the East Coast is happening.
That's really cool.
It's happening. So we're gonna just see what God's gonna continue to do. But
this is my question though. How did you handle the snow? Because I know that you have no clothing.
We froze.
that deals with snow.
We froze.
Well, some people did. You froze?
I froze. Well, it was only cold the first night. It was 17 degrees the first night. And then I guess when we showed up, we brought the heat because it went to 50 degrees the next day. And I guess that's extremely warm for that time of the year.
Yeah, that would be warm.
Yeah, so it worked out great for us. But I mean, David over here behind me, he had his Russian hat on.
Yeah, I saw that.
And dude, all those East Coasters, he literally has like a full Russian like bear hat.
Oh my gosh.
And all these East Coasters are just looking at him like, where's this fool going?
Right, exactly.
And he's like, I'm freezing, you know?
I'm from California. This is what we do.
It's like when you go to Seattle too. Like we were in Seattle we did a tour through Seattle a couple weeks ago, and when we showed up, they were like, "Hey man, like it's gonna be raining this whole week. It's crazy. Like, where do we get umbrellas?" And they're like, "Oh, yeah, if you have umbrellas in Seattle, that means you're a tourist." There was no umbrellas anywhere in Seattle, and it rained the whole time there.
That's so strange.
So what did we do? We're like, blend in.
Yeah, that's right.
Just getting wet.
Putting your hood on? Do they wear hoods?
Yeah, I don't know. Kinda, I don't know.
Beanies, maybe?
I was like just jumping from car to event back to car. I was over it.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Exactly.
I'm from California, you know.
I heard you did eat a lot of meat. You ate a lot of meat.
Where?
In Boston and Connecticut.
I did. Yeah. A lot of steaks.
Exactly.
I don't know why, but I did. So check this out. Before we get the show going, it's going to get cracking tonight. We got our good friends Steph and Pam in town. They're from South Africa, but they're from the band Largo. But I have deep roots with them from many years ago.
Yeah.
She was in the Arrows before in a band that we did several events with the Whosoevers back in 2011, 2009. I think we did we had them come out and play actually at our church.
Yeah.
But then we also had them play at the Threat to Formalized Religion conference, and they were signed on Sony Music back then, right?
Yeah, it was Universal.
Universal, yeah.
Universal.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool things. And they had one of these amazing songs that they had was The Words of Satan, which is still epic to this day. It's on YouTube. I would suggest that everyone Google it. YouTube, The Words of Satan, and basically tell us a little bit about that song really quick.
That song is... Hi, everybody.
Oh, sorry, Pam.
It's okay. It's okay.
Pam.
That song is basically about the lies that the devil tells people at different stages in their lives for whatever way that the devil could get in to their lives and just start a stronghold and just start to get into their thinking and start to separate them from God and separate them from the love of God. So that song, I sing in the first person as if I am Satan and sing like the words as if, it's me who is doing these things to you.
Right.
And then, but I don't tell you, I'll tell you this and I'll tell you that and I'll tell you that lie and I'll tell you this lie. But I don't tell you about the love of God. I don't tell you about the mercy of God. And I don't tell you that. I'll tell you everything else, but I don't tell you that. Right. So that's basically what the song is about,
I remember hearing that song for the first time when you came out and played, and I had a prayer group at the time, and I went to my prayer group. I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys, you have to hear this song. This is the best song ever. And I sat and I played it for them, and they're like, oh. Like, wow. They're like, I mean, because it's heavy. It's not like you just watch and you're like, yay, dancing around. It's like, whoa, like it's just like it takes a while for you to process everything that you're talking about in the song.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's reality.
Yeah.
It's what Satan really does come in and tell you. You know what I'm saying? And that makes you think.
It was one of the earliest songs I wrote after being saved. And I wrote it very much also from that perspective of being someone who wasn't a Christian and then becoming a Christian.
Right.
And identifying the different lies that the devil tells people. And also in my own life, looking at those lies. And I'm working on a sequel.
Yeah, I was about to say, there's actually a part 2.
Yeah.
In the Words of Satan, part 2, which has been recorded, but hasn't been released yet.
Yeah.
So
How many views does that video have?
I don't know.
Look it up really quick. Let me say something about Words of Satan too.
Yeah.
So I gave my life to God in 2008, and then I think we met a couple years later. And that song was the first song that I heard from Christians.
Yep.
That was so real and tangible that it was so powerful. Not only because of the lyrics, but you also created a video with it.
Yeah.
And the video is so, when you hear it and you're seeing the stuff that you're seeing, it's so controversial. I mean, I guess it makes people uneasy. But I ended up doing a speaking tour across the whole nation called Murder Your Flesh. And I opened up every single event with that song. Wow. And that literally just set the tone.
Yeah.
You watch that and it just sets the tone for the place. And then I had the rep play and then I gave the message at the end. And I mean, literally we saw thousands of people get saved on that tour. And I would credit the Words of Satan setting the tone from the beginning.
I remember that.
That's
was gnarly. How many views does that
So it has 333K.
No, it has more than that.
There's two. There's a couple.
There's a couple. And then there's one that has 664K and then 8.6K. So it's
there's a couple of versions.
It's been translated into Portuguese and Russian.
Oh my God.
I mean, it's just
that song. Dude, that's massive.
And that's what's so cool about it is it's got a life of its own on YouTube where people they'll do a little dance in their church and they'll post that. So, and some of these versions, they'll have 15,000 views, and it's a cover version, we actually we checked the statistics the other day, and there's been something like 500 different versions posted.
Really?
From different
on
churches
YouTube.
And youth groups.
So
and
obviously
stuff.
it's hard to find them, but it's just amazing to see how people have made it their own,
right?
And how it's touched people's lives.
Touched so
really
many
special.
people.
Dude, that song, I'm telling you, that thing is potent.
Yeah. I mean,
so number two's coming.
Yeah.
Yep. So
Number 2.
we haven't done the video and that's part like
that's
you
why
said.
we've stalled a bit because we want the video to be right.
Yeah.
There's something about it being together, the video and the song. So we haven't done the video yet. So we'll wait till we do that.
So
before
number
we
1
release.
is about the lies that the devil tells people when they're not a Christian, when they're not saved, when they don't know God. Number 2 is about the lies that he tells the church about the church and how he begins to separate the church and stuff like that. That's what number 2 is about. So it's also, it's kind of like a testimony of my story of becoming saved and like the power of God, touching my life, and then learning other things from being in the church and learning stuff and just starting to recognize things as you go and as you do.
Wow, that's going to be interesting.
Seeing the power of God working in the church.
Right.
Yeah.
There's your new song.
There it is. There it is. And it's going to be called The Words of Satan
Part 2.
Part 2.
Part 2. So then everyone will just start picking it up and then doing the same ripple effect.
Yeah. As long as we don't offend anybody. But, well, we really did offend people on that first one.
Well,
You can
did.
imagine.
Yes.
We had a lot of doors open to us and a lot of doors closed to us as well.
I mean, you guys at the time, you were playing in the Words of Satan in clubs.
Yeah, it was.
You guys were on a
true,
mainstream record label anyway. You guys were out there.
It was a little controversial.
It was. It was.
Well, hey, let's go to the very beginning.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's go to the very beginning. So, first of all, before we get to this is your husband. Obviously, we know you're pregnant.
Yeah.
And you're here, and you're going to be living here too in America. So this is amazing things
Yeah.
that are happening. How did this all start? How did the whole Arrows start?
Well, what's amazing is it's crazy when I look at it now, but in many ways, the Arrows really took off around the same time as we met you guys with the whosoevers and everything, because in South Africa, we were hustling, we were playing clubs, we were playing churches and youth groups, and we were doing all of these things, but we hadn't in any way had this huge major break. that only came later, kind of when we met you, and then it was all starting to take off. So in many ways, I feel like we were with you guys also right in the beginning.
Awesome.
Yeah. Even though we were in South Africa hustling and playing gigs and that, but when it really started to take off, it was from about when we saw you and when we left here. So, but where did the arrows actually begin before that? Christy and I were in Bible college together. Christy's the drummer from the band The Arrows. And we just were in youth ministry, and I'll never forget having this kind of, I felt like it was a revelation from God about how kids don't listen to preachers really as much as they listen to whoever's on their iPod.
Right.
Or at the time it was that, but now obviously it's changed. And just having this revelation that if we want to touch kids, if we want to reach kids' hearts, we have to get into their ears properly, like legitimately get into their ears.
On repeat.
Yeah, on repeat. And that was kind of like where the Arrows was birthed and where the Arrows started was, all right, well then let's do that. Let's just get a bunch of music together and travel and tour and build and see what God does with it. But more than anything, let's just bring a message in our music so that kids listening to it are listening to this versus something else that they could be listening to. Yeah. So we just had the favor of God, man. It was crazy times. It was exciting.
And the music in South Africa is different in the sense of like, because you were playing this Christian music per se in clubs.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that would never happen here.
No.
So how was it like, so you got onto a secular
How'd you get signed to a mainstream label?
Yeah.
We got signed with that. So In the Words of Satan was on the first EP we did.
Okay.
And then the second one that we released was the one that got signed, which was, I think it was a year after we did the first one.
Okay.
There wasn't as controversial songs, although I feel it's really difficult to talk about because I always feel like I'm writing songs about God and they're going to be at the same heart. They're going to be from the same place anyway.
Yeah.
So it's not like, oh, so that's Christian, that's not Christian.
Right.
No, I am a Christian.
Right.
So whatever I do is going to be Christian.
Right,
You know,
right.
I can't separate that. But that's the one that they signed. They signed that album. And we know, and Christians who are listening to it know, and God is also, there's just been so many testimonies about how God has touched people with that music, even
Right.
though it wasn't as blatant as In the Words of Satan. But how it's led a lot of people to also just go, oh yeah, the church should be fun, you know?
Right,
Oh
right.
yeah, church should also make us feel like having a good time. It shouldn't just make us feel condemned or feel heavy.
Right.
So was part of the message as well for the churches. So it was that album. That was the album that got signed.
Yeah, and it was kind of the secular success because one of the songs from that album became a radio single in South
which
Africa.
one was that?
Lovesick.
Lovesick, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And
One of my
that,
favorites.
The pop song.
yeah, it was
Yeah,
Super
exactly.
and it's,
Yeah,
it's
it
like
is.
a little, it's a little covert, and it just talks
Yeah.
about not getting enough time because of the hustle of life, not getting enough time to spend with God, but it writes it almost like it's a love song, and it's so that did really well on radio, and you know when you get the shows, you can play whatever you want,
Yeah.
as long as you
Yeah.
you know playing the crowd pleasers.
Just play the hits and you can
Yeah.
still play whatever you want.
Right,
so that was
right.
okay.
So it kind of made a way for that.
Yeah.
Now, was that the one that you had that the DJ
Oh, that
remix it?
that came after.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is another story.
Okay.
That came after that.
That's a few steps further down
Okay.
the
Yeah.
line.
Okay, so you get signed, you start taking off, and what happens next?
So what happens next is we get married. We get married in 2012.
Wait,
Okay.
wait, hold on. Did you get married while you guys were in the band Arrows? still?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
So I
Steph
talk.
was always behind the scenes, like for years.
That's why it might be confusing, but I talk about it like it was my
Yeah, so you were there
project
the whole
as well.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is because I was kind of a part of it. I worked on that first album.
Yeah.
So, but I wasn't a part of the brand of the band.
Right.
It was just
Okay.
the two girls.
Got it.
So yeah, so I was around. We were really good friends already, and making music together and things like that. So it was kind of a very smooth transition.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got married, basically.
Yeah.
In 4 months. We were like, okay.
You beat me. That's amazing.
Yeah. But it was because
Yeah.
we've been working together
Yeah.
for 5 years, writing music, you know me at my absolute worst.
Right.
And I'm definitely not trying to impress you the whole time because we just work together too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
We
And
were really
vice
good
versa.
friends. It was just, we really were good friends.
I knew he didn't have this weird, aggressive, angry side that would like intimidate me or anything like that. I knew him so well. And then all of a sudden, we were in love. So we just were like, okay, well,
The Lord flipped the script on you.
Totally.
Because you guys are friends.
yes, exactly.
And then all of a sudden one
Yeah.
day your eyes were like, wait,
yeah.
I like him more than a friend now.
But realizing that after years of like not
Right.
being with anyone, like actually realizing it was really weird for me.
I bet.
Like,
So
seriously.
I liked her from the beginning, from when
Okay.
we met, but it was kind of which was 5 years before that. So I just played the slow game.
Dude,
You wore
you were
her
in it for the
down.
long haul, huh? Put
he
the work
really
in.
was.
I knew what I wanted, but actually to the point where, I just didn't want to compromise our friendship. And
Yeah.
during that
Yeah.
period, obviously, I wasn't holding on to it. I kind of had let it go. And then she had to actually come and talk to me when she started
I had to.
liking me.
I had
Because
to. He was never gonna see
I was
it or
never
say
going to
anything.
see it because I had already dealt with it, and I was
Yeah.
like in the place of like, no, I just want our friendship to be pure, and if she doesn't like me, it's
He was
fine.
too holy for me.
You were too what? You were too what?
He was too holy.
Holy. That's the way it normally works.
Yeah.
The guys are always too holy for the girls. Huh?
Please.
Normally,
Please.
Which was awkward. And then 4 months later, so it was, we got together, we decided to get married, got engaged, and got married.
I mean, we were
So-
engaged within a month,
Yeah.
probably, and then
There was nothing to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was 5 years.
There was nothing to
Yeah.
think about.
Exactly.
So,
and
No, for
last
sure.
week we've been married for 6 years.
Yeah.
So
Congratulations.
Wow.
That's
it's a good
awesome.
feeling.
It is.
Also, just like
A whirlwind, though.
Yeah, it was a whirlwind.
Yeah.
And from where I've come from and my family, I mean, the miracle that I have a happy marriage, the miracle that I'm happy to be married and that I enjoy being a wife and, I can honor my husband. The miracle of that.
Right.
Like God just restores and he does everything. And all the things you've learned, God can unlearn it for you
Right.
if he didn't put it there in the first place. I just can really witness to that in my life.
Right.
So-
And that's a good point because
Yeah.
a lot of people, they will say, well, that's the way I was raised.
Yeah, exactly.
Or that's what I
Yeah.
saw in my home. So it almost becomes an excuse
Yeah.
of why they have that behavior.
Exactly.
But you're a testament that it doesn't have
Yeah.
to be like that. That once you accept Christ, he reteaches you
Yeah.
how to live your life.
Exactly.
And how to look at things and how to, have a good marriage
Yeah.
or a relationship with a friend or whatever
Yeah.
it is, and to have a healthy relationship towards things.
He renews your mind in all things.
Right.
So where I had maybe different expectations of what a husband is meant to do and what he would have had of what a wife is meant to do, God renews all of that thinking to make it godly.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Wow.
Yeah,
Amazing.
it's been an amazing journey.
Okay, so now you're happily in love.
Happily in love, super
Arrows
duper
are still
married.
happening.
Arrows are really happening. So now what's happening
Right.
is then we have this song that this DJ. Wait. First, we go to New York to record our album Disaster
Tell me
Queen.
about that.
That was amazing. We met with this producer called Fab DuPont, who's really great, and he's a good friend even today. And we spent the whole of 2012 writing that album. So there's actually a lot of love songs on that album too.
yeah, it
You
was.
were married.
We just
Yeah.
got
Oh, and then
married.
just
We
got
we
away.
literally.
Yeah.
I mean, we were on honeymoon, and we were like, let's just get home so we can,
Actually write this music.
Right.
start our lives and work on this. So we had a little studio at home, and just that's what we did that year. We just worked on the
Didn't
songs.
Christine?
Then Christy got married
She got
4
married
months.
too.
4 months later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then all of a sudden we were ABBA. Basically,
Right.
there were like two guys. I know,
That's
right?
exactly what
Right.
happened.
And it-
Yeah, because Christy's husband is also a drummer and a very, very good
killer
drummer.
drummer.
And so we were playing shows and touring with two drummers.
That would have been cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
That would
It
have
was
been cool.
great.
Yeah,
Right.
it was
It was
some
so
of the
great.
most fun we've had in our
Yeah.
in our careers.
Grateful Dead style, two drummers.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It
That
was
would have
so
been
cool.
amazing.
So we did this album in New York, and then it was around that time that this DJ just wouldn't leave me alone from South Africa. Like he just wouldn't. He just was like, "I need a song from you, please. I need a song from you. I need a song from you." Because he saw all of the success that we'd had on the previous album, And I was tired. We just did an album in New York, and I was like, this guy must leave me alone. And, you know, Christy was like, just write something quickly and he'll leave you alone. It's fine. Just do something fast.
So you wrote all the music in the Arrows, or
Yeah.
did she have any part of writing the music, or are you just the main writer?
I'm the main writer.
Okay.
But Christy was really good at managing and doing some of that stuff, which I was
Right,
not
right.
in the forefront of that.
You're artistic.
Yeah. Something like that.
Right.
So, yeah, we do the song with this DJ, another love song because of, you know, whatever.
You guys are in love.
Yeah. And this song goes crazy in South Africa. We won the award for the most played song on radio in South Africa, in 2013. And so that we did it in 2013. I finally gave him the song, and then it just went nuts. It was all over the radio. It was all over. It was just God escalated to another level of success that I was tired. I didn't really even want to do it.
Right.
Ask him. He was there. I think how long did I take to do that song?
2 hours. I mean,
No.
we did a little guide vocal at home, and next thing the song was on radio. Never mind a chance to.
Nothing.
Like fix the vocal.
Oh,
Like he
really?
just was
Yeah.
like, oh, this is fine. Like he just
great.
used
Send it over to him.
as is.
Just moved on it.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, that's amazing.
I know. And the song was huge. It was played in London as well. I think it was on BBC One. And we just couldn't believe that it did what it did.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I didn't actually have much hope in it, really. I was doing it to kind of like,
Just
Get rid of them.
Exactly.
in a way, like, you know, not to be rude.
No.
And then
So the song takes off, and then
the song takes off. Okay. So then we're getting nominated for MTV Africa Awards, nominated and won for South African Music Awards for the song. And just God did the most incredible things for the band. Now we're 4 instead of 2. And yeah, it was an interesting time.
wow.
It was a good time. And then a few months after that, Christy said that she just felt like she needed to step away from the band for a bit and do.
Now, are you guys getting booked for tons of tours at this point, or is it just kind of everything slow down for a minute?
We were doing a lot of TV because
Yeah.
we were being booked a lot because they wanted the song.
Yeah.
So we've quickly found our own way to play it live because we weren't going to bring the DJ every time either. So
Right.
we were playing it with instruments and stuff like that. People loved it. They loved it live.
But it was a lot of TV and
Yeah.
kind of publicity and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Those kind of shows.
Yeah.
Which always leads to gigs.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then, which I love, we started doing this, which if I could have just got this to work, I would have. We started doing school tours in South Africa on the back of a hit song.
Right.
Man, these kids, like the best crowds ever in the
I
world
bet.
ever.
Right.
Because they're so happy to see you and you're not geography.
Right.
And you're not, math.
Oh my
Right.
goodness.
You are the thing they saw on TV.
Right.
And they are like, you're at my school.
Right.
Like they're losing their minds. We had kids stage diving. We had the craziest stuff happen at those school gigs. And
Yeah. It was.
we try to find a way to also be able to go into the schools because we would do a little something in the middle that was quite covert, but we would just say, if people are inappropriately talking to you, because there's a huge abuse issue in South Africa,
Right.
huge abuse with kids, and we were trying to just preach a message of you need to reach out and you need to talk. If you know that a friend is being hit by their parents or by a brother or sister, you need to reach out and you need to talk. And this is the number to talk to and this is
So
the number to call.
We weren't allowed to do an overtly Christian message
Yeah.
because we weren't doing it for like Christian
Yeah,
groups
you were-
meeting at break.
Yeah.
It would be for the main assembly or
Right.
so.
So
but
they're all
it
in
was
there.
All,
Right.
It was all under like we worked with a crime
Yeah.
prevention.
Yeah.
What are they called?
Shout
yes.
campaign South Africa.
To try and just at least work on that, like bring awareness to abuse, try
Yeah.
and tell the kids,
Yeah.
this is what you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were doing a lot of that. If I could have got that to carry on, I would have, because that was the most fun for me. I was very happy in that time to not go play any clubs or anything, but just like throw my life at these kids.
Right.
Because they were just wide open and ready and enjoying it. And like, so anyway, so then Christy decides that she's going to stop doing the Arrows. And we are a little bit annoyed with our label at this stage anyway. And so we decide to step away from Universal Music, only under the condition, and this was the bad one, that they keep the name, the Arrows. Yeah. So I was like, we had to be like Moses, and we prayed and we fasted the whole time
Yeah.
because we just said, no, we have to be free from this. We have to be free from the bonds of this servant thing and slavery, should I say. And so we did, and we just went in faith and we said, fine, that's fine. You can have it. You know, the years and the years of work and pushing and like all of that stuff, we were just, it's fine. You know, we just had this heart of like, God did it once, he can do it again.
Right.
And if that's the thing that you're going to use to try to stop us from being free and being independent and, you know, moving forward, then it's not going to stop us. It's not going to work.
Right.
So that was...
yeah. I mean, we really felt we needed to do that.
Yeah.
Because at that stage, it was starting to also affect our ability to publish our music ourselves, things like that, which inevitably has an impact on your message that you put out.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was starting to become a limiting factor, which it does, because they what we didn't mention is
That's
the second
good, I forgot about
the
that.
second album that we did in New York.
Yeah.
We tried something different with the label where we signed what they call a 360 deal, which is basically they own everything then. And this was actually, we had this whole discussion and we prayed about it, and we felt like we should do that because, you know, hopefully they can help us gain more influence. It was a bad financial decision, but we felt like it was a good idea because we just wanted more influence, and we thought that would be more valuable.
Yeah.
But it turns out it didn't really work, the relationship, and there was a lot of changes in the company, and so we just needed to get out so we could have freedom again, publish our music ourselves, you know, say what we want to say, do what we want to do. And we really felt that quite strongly.
Yeah, and have our own message and just be able to be firm about all of that stuff again.
Right.
And it actually really was a miracle that we could get out.
Yeah.
Because they take overrides and they will find a way to own you for the rest of your career.
Even though they don't own you. Yeah.
Right.
I've seen this happen so many times. With, obviously, you know how many artists I work with. So many times, so many people. I mean, we know that Lacey went through that whole thing too with her band, and then she did her whole new album solo.
Yep.
Produced it. She's touring gigs. I mean, she was the first female artist to place #1 on the rock charts as a solo artist.
Wow.
With her new album that just came out. So what you guys were saying, like she walked away from everything and she felt peace and said, God, you know, it's your will. And then God just did his thing, and she went to #1 on the rock charts. First female artist to leave a band and do that.
That's amazing.
So, yeah.
That's so encouraging.
Yeah, God can do anything. We're going to be going to a break in a few minutes. I got the band Largo in town from South Africa. We're just talking about this amazing faith journey over the last, how many years?
8.
The last 8 years. It's going to be amazing. Now, listen, really quick. We are going to Israel. I don't know if you guys are interested in going, but we're going to be going in, what's the dates?
We're leave April 23rd and get back May 4th.
We are going. We have like 4 buses. I think we have like 200 people going.
Yes.
I think 220 people going right now, but I think we still have room for another 20.
Yes.
We got room for one more bus.
Right, one more bus.
So once you contact us, you can contact Calvary Chapel Golden Springs and jump on that tour with us. Also, we are currently touring the public high school systems, as we've been talking about these high schools. We are opening it up to the whole nation. If you would like us to come to your school, just go to our website. What is it? thewhosoevers.com. Email us. We'll give you all the details how we could come out and reach these kids with the gospel and get them plugged back into the Christian club, and then they filter these kids back into the church. But we are seeing thousands of kids getting saved. It's God's pouring out His Spirit. These kids are open to the gospel. They want to know their destiny. They want to know their purpose, and they want to have a relationship with the God of the universe. But who's gonna go unless someone sends them? So call us, and we will go and do this. We will catch you guys back in 2 minutes, right after the break.
More Live with Ryan Ries coming up.
Is everything all right?
Call now, 1-888-564-6173. Or post your questions using the hashtag #LiveRyanRies on his Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook.
I think I speak for the entire administration when I say, whoop-de-doo.
Now, back to Live with Ryan Ries. Don't say we didn't warn you.
Loud noises!
We are back with Steph and Pam from the band Largo from South Africa and Melynda Ries. And just before the break, we were just talking about them growing up in South Africa and starting this band, the Eras, which some of you guys may know of. If you don't, I would suggest get on YouTube right now and type in the words of Satan. Actually, after the interview, the words of Satan, and watch this video. This video is sick and it is convicting and sobering. It is bad to the bone. You got to check it out. But when you guys were saying that you guys were doing these high school tours and the kids were going crazy.
Yep.
But Steph said that you guys were doing some campaign about abuse or something in Africa. Explain to people about South Africa. I've been there 3 times. And it is wild over there.
Yeah.
They're like, Ryan, people won't rob you. They'll just kill you and then rob you.
Yeah.
It's easier to just kill you than to keep you alive.
It is.
Talk about this.
It's the Wild West.
Yeah,
it is.
Straight up.
I mean, just a disclaimer before we get into this. We love South Africa.
I love South Africa too.
And it's the most beautiful country. And the culture is incredible and we love the people there.
Yeah.
But there's some hard things there.
Can I say one thing? I've been to South Africa 3 times. I've also traveled around the whole world several times.
Yeah.
The nicest people I've ever met anywhere in the world has been South Africa.
Wow.
Hands down, every time I meet a South African, I go, South Africans are the coolest people I've ever met in my life.
Wow.
Oh, that's
So,
so
cool.
nice.
The country's beautiful,
Yeah.
and the people even make it more beautiful because they are the coolest people.
And there's a resilience in people. People grow up knowing how to overcome adversity. And I always, we spent some time in the UK, and it's just when you meet South Africans, you just realize what growing up in South Africa does to you as a person, and how it actually is. Not that we want bad things to happen to anybody, but it makes you a better person.
Right.
Yeah.
Strong.
It does.
Yeah.
So we were doing these school tours, and when Jesus stood up and he said, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me to preach good news and to set the chains free of the oppressed," and all of these things that he lists. And, he says, this is what the Spirit of the Lord is upon me to do. So I don't feel in any way that because we had to do some of these covert things, we weren't doing the will of God, because that is exactly what the will of God is there to do,
Right.
to break the chains of the oppressed, you know? And if these kids, because South Africa has a really shocking rape culture. That's actually the name of it. It's a rape
Really?
culture, yes,
Right.
where I think it's like 1 in 4 are raped. Yeah,
Wow.
that's as high as it is now.
What age does it start?
Really young, because there's also beliefs that if you find out you have HIV
And you have sex with a virgin.
with a baby,
a baby.
A baby.
yeah,
Whoa, that's
then
demonic.
you'll be,
It's very bad.
then you'll be cured. So it can start as young as 2.
Oh,
Yeah. So, and then now you're a 2-year-old going to school, like when you grow up a little
Right.
bit, and you're not the only one this has happened to.
right.
Wow.
It's a rape culture. It's
Wow.
it's an entitlement on men as well.
Now, this is with the tribes,
Yep.
right?
Yeah. And it's an entitlement that I'll just take.
Right.
I'll take. Like, I can take.
Right.
So when you have that around you all the time, and you know, you're trying to teach the girls not to feed into it, and like you're just trying to find your way with that whole thing.
Right.
I always think someone on the end of this is suffering. Someone on the other side of this is suffering injustice. And when we were doing the schools tour, and we could just reach out and say, if you are being hurt in any way by someone older than you, or even by other schoolmates, that is not right. You need someone else to actually say to you, that is not right.
Right.
Because they don't know. They've just grown up with it
Yeah.
being normal.
Yeah.
Men are entitled, or whoever's entitled.
Right.
And then that starts even earlier too. Then 12-year-old boys are entitled.
I see.
You know?
Oh,
Yeah.
dang.
Of course.
Right.
So
And it's a
that just goes
vicious
earlier and
cycle.
earlier and earlier, because they've learned that by 12 too. Well, that's what dad does if they know their dad, or that's
Right.
whoever does. So then I'm entitled to. So, and they never hear the opposing voice that says, no,
Right.
no, you don't have to. And so when we were doing the schools tour, and we loved it so much, and God gave us this hit song so that we could also get into schools, and like it was really crazy. And just being able to hand out flyers with the right numbers on, and just say, speak out, don't be quiet, and don't live your life like this. I really felt like, I just felt really excited, and
Right.
and I felt more Christian in many ways doing that than sometimes when you feel like you just have to be the gospel the whole time.
Right.
Because sometimes the gospel is also to preach justice and to say something is not fair or something is not right. That's
Right.
what Jesus said. He said, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me to do this.
Right.
So yeah, we didn't get much flack for that one. but
Right.
but we did have it cut short, unfortunately. I think I don't know why it got cut short.
Well, it started with we had a vehicle, because we obviously had
yes,
to
of
transport all
course.
the sound. We were doing this completely on our own,
Yeah.
and we're working on sponsorships and stuff. But we did have a vehicle sponsorship, and
Yeah.
the truck actually got stolen.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they steal stuff there,
Of course.
too.
Yeah. Of
So,
course.
and I mean,
With all the equipment?
No,
Say no to
fortunately
crime.
not.
Like
Fortunately,
huge on the truck. Say no to
Yeah.
crime.
yeah. Say no to crime. Totally.
Driving around
Right.
South Africa.
Someone stole the van that says "Say no
Say
to
no to
crime."
crime with the
Hugely
arrows.
branded
Right.
on it.
Was it Antwood?
What? Oh, no, it wasn't that. No. But I bet they like them a lot. So, yeah, I forgot about that completely.
So I mean, that was one thing, and then the it was unfortunate, but the company that was
yeah,
sponsoring the vehicles, they were not happy.
they were
Yeah.
really upset about
They
that.
were very, very unhappy about it. I mean, not that we could have done anything about it, but
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
so
It's South Africa. Cars get
Exactly.
stolen.
yeah.
Right.
Don't you guys? Side note: don't you guys have like there's like a fire tube underneath the car that you could install them under the car that could shoot fire up the sides of the car?
What?
No,
That's what our distributor told us.
that sounds amazing though.
That's what our distributor told us, Clayton, when we were there in South Africa doing the skate tours. He says, yeah, he's like, yeah, mate, you could put like these tubes that can or like these like fire that could shoot out. If someone tries to carjack you, you can shoot a little bit
No,
of flame
I'm
on
no
the
saying-
way. I've never heard of that.
I'm not surprised though, because South
He was in
Africans
Johannesburg, though.
just make a plan. If there's a problem, they just go, how can we solve this problem?
Yeah.
No one else is going to solve this for me.
Yeah.
Let's put flames on the side of the car that can come out.
So
Yeah. So
Okay.
right alongside the kind of rape culture is the poverty culture and the crime that goes with that because people just need stuff. They need the basic fundamentals of life.
Paint this picture because there's a lot of tribes there in
Yeah.
this area, and in those tribes it's like dirt.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like they're living in like huts and stuff, right?
Yeah. It's the townships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huts.
And
This
they
is full on,
still
like,
exist.
Africa.
Yeah.
And they started at the time of apartheid, which, you know, it's the shame of South Africa. But that's when they started. And they've just grown and grown and grown and grown and grown because people have kids.
Right.
And they never really get the funding that they're supposed to get. They're promised from government year after year.
Yeah.
And they never get the funding that they're meant to get to actually sort the housing out.
There's a major political issue, and
Yeah.
it's actually not that you could ever prove this, but theoretically, the government is keeping people in poverty because that's how they're staying in power.
Wow.
Yeah.
And keeping apartheid and racism alive, by saying that white people are still oppressing
Yeah.
black people in the
Yeah.
communities, but it's actually because they refuse to give them decent education and things like that. So they just go in there and they tell them stuff, basically, and people stay in poverty.
Yeah.
It's really sad, but there's a
Yeah.
lot of poverty still. And, even trying to help some people, there's a general passivity, and a lot of those people want to stay in poverty.
Yeah.
I'm
so
not sure
even if
why.
the government does give them a house,
Right.
Oh,
they
they'll
would
sell
rather
it.
sell
Yeah,
it.
They'll sell it.
so they have some money for a little while and
Yeah.
live in the hut.
So
Then like change your life and live in a house.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
And just alongside that poverty is the crime. That's what I mean. Like they stole the van because they're gonna walk down and if they see a van that they're like, I know how to get into that van.
Right.
They're definitely gonna take that. And I wish I could say we're unaffected. I wish I could say the worst thing that happened was the van. His mother's been tied up and they've come into the house and tied her up and asked her where the keys are for the car and this and that and the next thing. And she's so afraid. My brother was shot. He was murdered by like some 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds who were on the most intense drugs. There's a drug they called Wonga, which is a mix of all sorts of things, and it gives them loads of courage, like fearless. And they'll just come into the house and just basically do, well, it's tribal.
Right. Right.
And so they'll come into the house. My brother was shot, murdered. I was just, bam, one bullet. And I wish I could say that it just kind of stops at a van, but it doesn't stop there. It's touched our family. It's touched other people's families that I know. And everyone's just not like had enough. I don't want to say that though. But there comes a point when you just kind of, am I wanting to raise my family here?
Right. And is that what the point that you came to? Like where you just decided like this isn't what I want to raise my child in because of fear. I mean, you know, who's to say that you weren't going to be the next victim or they weren't going to,
I mean, you
come
think
into
about
your
it,
house.
you have your wife and you got your kids.
Yeah.
I mean, just being in, I mean, now remembering South Africa, being there with, just, if I was single, but if I had my wife down there, I'd be terrified of my wife just walking down the street. I mean, anything could happen.
There's no just walking down the street.
No, you can't do that. Yeah.
You don't do that.
And that's also the other thing is the lifestyle. So yes, it's the fear, but it's also the lifestyle that our offspring is going to have.
Right.
Because it's what's normal to us now.
But I think people in South Africa are very used to it.
yeah.
Right.
And they've adapted to that lifestyle. And it's only, I would say, only when we started traveling abroad a lot that we started coming home and going like, oh gosh, we better make sure the doors are always locked and we can't drive through there. And like starting to have to reactivate some of those thoughts that we realized like, this is bad.
Right.
This is really, really bad. And we're just so used to it.
That's
And obviously we've had bad things happen. But even then there's like I don't know what it is, but people are definitely used to it.
Yeah.
And not happy about it, but used to it.
Yeah,
They just have adapted their lifestyle. They just, people go home when the sun goes down and they stay in their houses. And everyone's got multiple security systems and
guns too.
and there's cameras everywhere. And that's the way it works.
Right. That's crazy.
So now, okay, so the Arrows ended.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah.
And then when did you guys come up with the new idea to start your guys' new band? How'd that happen?
We also needed to get out of the contract with Universal.
Yes.
So a way to do that was also to say, well, whatever we do from now on with this new name, you have no part of that. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of when it started. But also I took a break for a while.
Yeah.
After my brother died. And
So it was the timing of it as well.
Yeah.
It was soon after.
Your brother died right around that time?
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
And it was soon after that kind of the Arrows started dissolving.
Yeah.
On the back of also a lot of difficult business things.
Yeah.
Without really being able to go into detail with
Yeah.
the label
Right.
and a mess, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the back of that as well. So then there was a good chunk of time when it was pretty dormant.
Yeah.
But when we felt the courage again, it was a natural transition, sort of for the two of us to start our own project,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I had been behind the scenes and we had been
Yeah.
working together. So
Yeah.
we thought, well, let's just do our own thing,
Right.
and start a fresh brand because of all the label trouble and
Yeah.
all of that. So
One good thing that did come out of that is I started a solo project, Pamela Myburgh, and that was a lot of songs written in that time of just how God comforts us in our sorrow and how God kind of leads us out, which I think is something that we don't really talk about that much in church. Everyone must just be okay all the time and
Right.
like on
Yeah.
and like full of faith. And
Right.
but sometimes we're not.
Yeah.
And it's also okay because there's a space for that, because God speaks about it in the Bible so much about how he knows that you're heartbroken. He knows
Right.
like there's such a compassion of God.
Right.
And those songs came out of that time where
they were actually, we finished recording those songs about 2 weeks before your
Yeah.
brother was murdered.
yeah,
And the songs were prophetic in the sense that we had no idea what was
around
coming.
the corner.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think as Christians we often want to pray things away, and especially sorrow and hardship and stuff like that. And it was just a totally different. Sometimes you just can't.
Right.
Sometimes
you have to
bad,
just
You've
walk
got
through
to
it.
walk through
Bad-
it.
bad
Sometimes
things
you've got to
happen.
walk through
Right.
it. And
Yes.
and they happen to Christians. Bad things
You know.
happen to Christians.
Exactly.
And those songs were literally about that.
Yeah.
And about that walk, and we had no idea what was coming still,
Yeah.
Right.
not that that's how God planned it or anything, but I just think those songs were also, we just didn't release them for about 2 years after
Yeah.
that.
Right.
I just felt a little sick about it.
Yeah.
But then soon after that, not very long after, we moved to London for a while.
Yeah.
So we were back and forth in London doing projects.
It was
in
about
South
a year
Africa.
later.
Yeah.
So now you guys were touring at this point?
No, we were actually, I was still kind of not wanting to just jump in front of the limelight, I guess.
Right.
There was a gap for me where I just wanted to just really like connect my gift with God and be
Yeah.
sure. And like there was this time of that I needed to go through. So we went to London and we were the worship leaders at his church, London, which is the same church that we were from in Durban. And they had a plant in London and they didn't have a worship team and they needed people to help. And we were like, well, let's do that as well,
Yeah.
That's perfect time because you just want to sit at God's feet.
Yeah,
and you're there doing
yeah.
worship. You're in
Absolutely.
that church. Just
And we
And-
could help. And, you
Yeah.
know, they needed to get the musicians out of the woodwork and be like, right, okay, who plays guitar? Who,
Right.
like,
that's cool.
and they needed someone to coordinate that
Yeah.
and kind of get it together, which was, it was the right time
And
for us.
during that time as well, for the last couple of years, really, we spent a lot of time working behind the scenes,
Yeah.
writing for other artists and doing that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
which was also good.
Which was a good patch, I think. That really saved us.
Yeah.
After everything went a bit,
You know,
got a
just,
bit difficult, I
Right.
suppose.
just writing for like, you know, double platinum selling artists in South Africa.
And those things were just coming our way. It wasn't
Yeah.
anything that we had to pursue. So God really sustained us in that way. And then that's kind of why we also went over to London to do that
Yeah.
a little bit more.
Yeah.
But also we ended up just having an amazing time
Yeah.
serving in church. And
Yeah. It was a really like a refreshing, fulfilling time.
Right. A time of healing.
And then I never thought I'd ever come to LA again.
Right.
I didn't.
so what
And
happened?
then I rock up And I see you, and I said, I honestly never thought I was going to see you again.
I
Melynda.
know.
I didn't.
I didn't think I'd ever see you again.
didn't.
Seriously.
The last time we all saw each other, we were out at the Argentine restaurant in Hollywood.
Oh, yeah.
That was the
so
last
good.
time.
Uh-huh.
That was the last time.
Right.
Yep.
I walked
know.
past that in May when we came back. My other brother, he had a kid, and his wife needed someone to just look after their little 1-year-old and be on the road with them while they were touring because she's an artist, so she was doing an exhibition. And they were coming to LA, and they said, "Do you want to come and help look after Felix?" I said, "Yeah, that's cool. That sounds good." I would have gone anywhere.
Right.
It just happened to be LA, and he had never been here.
Yeah,
So
so
then I said, "Okay,
let's do it.
But in my heart, I'd already decided if God wanted that, he would have opened a door, and he didn't. So it's okay. And as we just got back here, and as we hit the ground, he even said to me in the airport, what is going on in this place? This atmosphere is so light.
Right.
Yeah.
And I remember driving in the cab,
Yeah.
driving through I don't know, by the airport. So it's not like it was, a nice, part
nice
of town.
area, yeah.
And I just remember thinking I can do this.
This is like home?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
I like this.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
Uh-huh.
sunny. People drive. That's the
Right.
stuff that we know. It's very natural. It's not natural to have to wait for a bus.
Right.
That's not how we've grown up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. People are smiley. They say nice things to each other.
Right. Wow.
And then we
In
saw
LA.
you, and I said,
Right.
I didn't think I was ever going to see you again.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I heard you guys were back. I was like, "What? They're here?" And then I heard, "Oh,
Yeah.
we're pregnant."
Yeah.
And we're not going back. Oh,
Yeah, exactly.
I just message bombed him da-da-da. Okay, next. Da-da-da. And I'm pregnant. Oh, and we're actually here forever now. It's okay.
I'm like,
So anytime's good.
my reply was like, "Okay, cool. So you're here? Awesome. Okay, let's get you on the radio and let's get you to play a gig.
That's
ASAP.
right.
Let's do it.
Exactly.
We'll get the gig, in time. when it's time.
Yeah. We'll do all that.
So
you're
then
here.
after you were here with your brother and sister-in-law,
Yeah.
you guys left.
We left. We went back to London,
Okay.
already feeling like, I think we need
that
to
was
be in
cool.
LA.
Right.
We went back to London and we just prayed.
Yeah.
We prayed. We really want to come back in October. Well, we said October because
Right.
we get these ideas ourselves or whatever. It seemed like it worked out in our timeline. So we just prayed, and we had no idea how or why, and we did. We did end up back here in October.
And then we played at
very
Calvary
briefly.
Chapel.
Yes.
We played at the Golden Springs for Sean's nights on the
Right.
Friday night.
I was gone.
W Live.
You were gone. I was so sick. It was
Yes.
so bad. I was
First it's
like,
the tooth, then
Yes,
she's sick.
exactly.
it's like,
Now she's
come on.
pregnant.
Come on, Pam. Are you
Get
ever
it
okay?
together.
How'd it go that night?
I just opened my heart and I just said, this church is so connected to me. I feel like I'm with my family tonight. And because it did. I
Yeah.
feel like because you guys were right there in the
Right.
beginning of
Yes.
a lot of things for us,
Yes,
you know?
yes.
So we had fun.
It
I
was
wish I
special.
felt better. I would have gone more crazy if I felt better.
It was
but
really special, though.
it's so special.
Yeah. Dude, that's awesome.
And then, so how are you here now? How did this all come about? And you're staying.
We're staying.
We have
not
5
leaving.
minutes left, so
Yeah. Wrap
tell
it up.
us.
Quick.
Wrap it
so
up.
quick. There is a church that's starting here in Newport Beach called Eternity Church. And we're going to be doing worship, part-time worship, and developing the team for the new church.
Wow.
Sweet.
So,
That's exciting.
yeah,
We
which
gotta
is the
go check it
most
out.
solid thing we've had in a long time.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We
While
just
still working on your own music.
yeah,
Always,
exactly.
always.
That's the plan, and we just really want to get back to that as well because it's actually been a very long quiet patch for us
Yeah.
where we've released a couple of songs over time, but we want to get back to doing a full album. And
and we just played NAM.
and
Oh,
we
yeah,
just-
that's right.
Yeah.
We just
Oh, you
played
did?
NAM. Yeah.
I was out of town for
For-
that too. Where can people find your music? Where can they find it online? Online or
Okay.
social media?
All the videos are on YouTube
Yep.
under Largo. And-
LARGO.
Yes, and then for all the other socials, it's We Are Largo for Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. But that's we_R_Largo.
And so what we've actually done is we've done 2 brands, Pamela Myburgh, which is now our more overtly Christian material.
Yeah.
And then Largo, which is our more covert stuff.
Okay.
Still Christian, but just
Right.
a little bit more. So our aim is just at the secular market with that.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can bring the two worlds together.
Yeah.
But just so you guys can find the Christian stuff under Pamela Myburgh as well. And she's also on Facebook, Instagram, the works, and iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify, everything else.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And don't forget to go to look out for that new Words of Satan Part 2 coming out.
Yes. I can't
soon.
wait.
Yeah.
Soon.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for being on. This is amazing for us to be able to catch up. I didn't know we were going to catch up on the radio, but
But that's okay. I'll take it. I'll take it.
All right, so check this out, guys. People, listen, we want to come to your guys' high school. Don't forget the Whosoever's is touring year-round at public high schools, middle schools. And if you guys would like us to come out, please email us. Go to the whosoevers.com. Connect us. We go in through the FCA. We go in through the Christian club, or we could go in through a teacher. We just need to be connected to someone to the school. And then basically it's pretty turnkey from there. We come, we set up, we do the whole event. We get the kids plugged into the Christian club. We give them the gospel. And then the kids get discipled. And then hopefully they'll turn around and do the same thing and reach their peers and their friends in the schools. Mm-hmm. The high schools and the middle schools is where it's at, people. We got to get these kids right now. This is when things start changing. I remember I saw pornography when I was young. And then in junior highs when I started thinking about the way I was going to turn away from God. And then high school is just when I was gone.
Yeah.
But things are a lot faster these days.
Exactly.
Kids are getting exposed to pornography at 7 to 8 years old. That's the average age now. So when you might say, well, not my kids. Well, yes, your kids.
Yeah.
Trust me. Statistics are just go online and Google the statistics from the mainstream, and you will see. And the Christian statistics aren't far from that either. So we love you guys, and we just would pray that you guys would, just join us, and more importantly too, pray that God will continue opening doors. Because we were at a high school last week, and they literally were ripping flyers down. We had people that weren't down with God, ripping the posters down, ripping the flyers down, trying to boycott the event. A couple parents called in complaining because we're talking about Jesus, but we are in there legally. We are in the assembly. We are in the gymnasium. So by kids coming in, they're there by choice, but always the enemy wants to come in and get us out. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But greater is he that's in us than he that's in the world. So we thank you guys for your prayers. We covet them. That is the most important thing. And if you guys want to donate, amazing. Just go to the Whosoever's. You could donate to the cause, right to the high school tours. We love you guys, and thank you guys for listening. We'll talk to you guys next week.
Bye.
This has been Live with Ryan Ries. To connect or find out more about Ryan, click on ryan-reese.com. Check us out next Saturday at 9 p.m. for Live with Ryan Ries.